zero carb fried chicken that also happens to be gluten free. Okay, the first thing we have to do is make a brine. Because we're not putting any breading on outside of the chicken, we're going to have to get our flavor into the chicken. We're also going to use some herbs. I'm using herbs de Provence, but you can use whatever herbs, tickle your fancy. You can just come up with your own 11 herbs and spices if you want to. In regular fried chicken, the seasonings in the breading or in the dredge are typically on the outside of the chicken altogether. But since we don't have that, we're going to have to put our seasoning and our flavors into the chicken, and the only way really to do that is by the brining process. We're going to bring the mixture to a boil to dissolve the salt and allow the flavors of the herbs to steep out into the brine liquid. I've allowed this mixture to steep for about 30 minutes, but just to make sure that it's chilled room temperature, I'm going to go ahead and add some ice to cool it down before I pour it over the chicken. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of baking powder because I think it makes the chicken skin crispier. I have really no proof of that, but I do think it does. Okay, we have our chicken. I have a mixture of legs and thighs here, which I think is the best chicken for people who are on a ketogenic or low carb diet, but you could also put in some breast pieces, but you want to keep the skin on them. This is for skin on chicken only. Put the mixture in the refrigerator for a minimum of 5 to 6 hours. In this case, I just left them overnight. The next step in this process will be poaching the chicken, and I'm preparing the aromatics to go in the poaching liquid. Oh, I got me a new knife. This is a Lamson. It's made in the United States. They've been making cutlery in this country since 1831. Cool, huh? Anyway, let's see. Where was I? I got to quit admiring my knife. Oh yeah, preparing the aromatics. One of the benefits of this process is you're going to be producing as a byproduct some good chicken stock. So I'm going ahead and adding in some carrots and some celery. And then I've got these leek tops that I've had in the freezer from a dish I did earlier, which are typically too tough to use in dishes in general. They tell you to cut this part off, but I keep it and freeze it and then use it for flavoring stocks or to make bouquet garnis, which are often used in French recipes. This part is optional, of course, but this is the way that I do it. Okay, let's put our chicken in with our aromatics. This pot actually was too small for what I'm trying to do here, but I'd already got it dirty and I'm too lazy to wash it and then go get another pot. Once all the chicken is in, you'll want to cover it with water. We're going to completely cook this chicken through by poaching it. Start over high heat, bring it to a simmer, and then cover. Keep it simmering on low. We just want the water barely moving. We don't want the chicken to fall apart. This is going to take 30-45 minutes or so to cook the chicken, depending on the size of the pieces. Halfway through, you'll want to stir them around a little bit, get the ones off the bottom and put them on the top. You'll want to keep check on the temperature. If you're doing white meat, 165 is done. Pull the white meat out at 165. We're doing thighs and legs, which is dark meat, and I'm looking for around 180 degrees just to make sure that they're good and tender. Dark meat is really much more forgiving in this type of process. Plus it has more flavor and will be juicier. As the chicken reaches temperature, I'll remove them and set them aside. You don't necessarily have to check every piece, but I would check the larger pieces in particular.
Yeah, hello, Carl. I'm doing fine. How are you? Okay, I got you. What's going on?
Okay, so here's our chicken stock. There's already a quart in there from chicken I'd processed earlier in the week, so we made 2 additional quarts on top of that. And here's our chicken. Now the chicken is cooked, but it's not ready to fry yet. If we tried to fry it at this point, it would fall to pieces. So it's got to go in the refrigerator and be chilled. I actually put the chicken uncovered on this sheet pan overnight to dry out the skin so it'd really be crispy when we go and finish it in the fryer. Okay, now it's ready for the fryer. Normally I use my little electric fry daddy, but for filming purposes I'm going to use this cast iron coquette. I'm using peanut oil, but you could use coconut oil or even lard if you wanted to. So what is a coquette? It's a French term for a covered pot, like a Dutch oven. It's also a French term for a lady of ill repute. I guess it just depends on the type of cooking you're planning on doing. Okay, I want my oil around 350, 360 degrees. We're at 365, so we're going to go ahead and put in the chicken. I'm putting a probe down to the bone, and what I'm looking for is 100 degrees at the bone. We don't want the chicken to be cold in the center when we bite into it, so we're starting out at 43 degrees. A couple minutes later, here we're at 70 degrees, and a couple more minutes we're at the number we're looking for, 100 degrees. You don't have to temp every piece of chicken. As a general rule, 4 minutes is going to do it. If it's a big piece of chicken, give it another 30 to 45 seconds or so. Remember, it's already been cooked to a safe temperature. We're simply reheating it and crisping up the skin. Okay, so here we have it. I'm going to put a little fresh cracked pepper on the outside as a garnish. And then let's go in and give this a try. You can listen to the crispiness of the skin. Absolutely wonderful. And now let's taste.
That is delicious. Oh.
This chicken has a wonderful flavor and texture, and it's not greasy at all. There's no breading on it to hold grease, so it's really quite delicious. Here we see one of the legs, and it turned out really nicely as well, and it's also very hot. It looks like I'd learned my lesson. But here it is. Chef Tyler's keto fried chicken, I guess, if you want to call it that. I know there's several steps in making this dish up, but when you're ready to serve it, you take it right out of the refrigerator and it goes right into the fryer. And boom, 4 minutes later, you got fried chicken, piping hot, ready to eat, and deliciously crispy. Just listen to that. I make up a batch ahead of time, put it in a refrigerator. When I come in from work, I just plug in the Fry Daddy, go get washed up. By the time I've cleaned up, the oil is up to temperature. 4 minutes later, I'm having chicken dinner. Okay, we're done for now. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. If you're interested in other low-carb recipes, please go to my website, cheftylermaking.com. That's cheftylermaking.com. Thank you very much.